For millennia, mankind gazed out into the mesmerizing night sky without recognizing the stars of our own Milky Way galaxy as other suns, or the billions of sister galaxies making up the rest of our universe. Or that we are merely punctuation in the universe's 13.7 billion year-long story. With only our eyes as observing tools, we had no means of finding solar systems around other stars, or of determining whether life exists elsewhere in the universe.
400 years ago, 400 years and I think 4 days today ago, a man called Galileo Galilei went out into the fields outside his home in Padua in Italy. And he pointed a contraption to the sky that had been invented presumably in the Netherlands, but the history is a little bit vague on that point, to the skies. And that was the telescope. And that one invention has really changed our entire understanding of how we fit into the bigger picture, despite the many gaps that I was speaking about. The Eyes on the Skies project is a series of different materials that discuss this contraption, this invention, the telescope, in all the different ways possible, the history, the technology, the people behind, and all the discoveries made with it. The project is intended for a fairly broad audience, but we did it on purpose in a way so that it can be used in education as well as an example of how things are done and what takes humankind further in our understanding of where we are.
Today we are well on our way to unraveling many of the mysteries of the universe, living in what may be the most remarkable age of astronomical discovery. I'm Dr. J, and I will be your guide to the telescope, that amazing instrument that proved to be mankind's gateway to the universe.
The production of this project is a bit of a funny story, actually. In my daytime job, I am head of a public education and outreach group dealing with astronomy in Munich, which is under the European Southern Observatory. And it so happens that this year is the 400th anniversary of Galileo's invention of the telescope. So the International Astronomical Union made what is called the International Year of Astronomy this year in 2009. And in collaboration between ESO and the International Astronomical Union, and then also the European Space Agency's Hubble office, which is also part of our group, we decided to make a celebration of the telescope, the best we could do. And through the years we have gathered quite some experience with audiovisual productions, because astronomy is a very visual science. It's something we knew we had to get into very early on. So already about almost 10 years ago, we were doing more and more in terms of producing color images from the data from the telescopes on ground and in space. And also we were doing more and more to visualize those results with 3D animations and renderings. And the latest sort of offspring of that effort has been a series of podcasts, actually 2 series of podcasts. One is called the Hubblecast, which is about the Hubble Space Telescope, and one is called the ESOcast, about the European Southern Observatory and all their discoveries. And we have a very charismatic host in that series. It's a guy we call Dr. J. He's actually a real doctor in astronomy, Joe Liske from the European Southern Observatory. And this podcast series, or those 2 podcast series, have been running with about 1 production a month. For it's a good rate for the audience. It's a good rate for the discoveries that come in. And we decided to produce the Eyes on the Skies in exactly the same way, because this was a production model that we had become very familiar with and had tuned very nicely.
When you listen to your favorite piece of music, your ears pick up on a very wide range of frequencies, from the deepest rumblings of the bass to the very highest pitched vibrations. Now imagine your ears were only sensitive to a very limited range of frequencies. You'd miss out on most of the good stuff. But that's essentially the situations that astronomers are in. Our eyes are only sensitive to a very narrow range of light frequencies. Visible light, but we are completely blind to all other forms of electromagnetic radiation.
We've produced two documentaries in the span of 10 years, and both have been extremely taxing for the team, because we have a day-to-day workflow where we are communicating results from some of the biggest observatories in the world. And this is an ever ongoing process. Science always produces new wonderful things, and that's great. So it's very difficult to take out time from your day-to-day work to actually be creative, to be creative enough to do something which is worthwhile looking at for, say, an hour. That's one of the biggest challenges. What we've learned from our audiovisual productions is that you can learn, and you have to learn a lot from the way that you produce. You have to constantly harvest that experience and use it to the best of your knowledge. And then you have to apply, I would say, high technical standards as well. That's a very important thing, because everyone today can produce video podcasts, and it's wonderful to see so many doing it because it brings out the diversity. But when that is said, you still need the essence. And the essence is, of course, a good story, it's good visuals, and I would say good application of high standard technology.
We have just begun answering some of the greatest questions conceived. We have charted over 300 planets around other stars in our own Milky Way and located organic molecules on planets around far-flung stars. These incredible discoveries may seem like the zenith of human exploration, but the best is undoubtedly yet to come. You too can join the discoverers. Look up and wonder.